Preprint Image Matrix, a unique system from International Paper, simplifies the selection of box graphics in 3 ways. First, it helps visualize how preprint graphics will look on a corrugated box. Second, it enables comparison of a variety of preprint graphic treatments on different box surfaces. And third, it provides an objective system for determining trade-offs between appearance and cost. As an alternative to traditional post-printing of finished corrugated board, preprint greatly improves printing quality by printing the outer liner or substrate first before corrugation. That means multiple colors, excellent registration, more complex graphic treatments, and process color. International Paper developed the Preprint Image Matrix kit to demonstrate the range of visual effects preprint makes possible. Each kit contains 5 accordion-folded sheets. A different substrate is used for each sheet, representing the 5 most common surfaces used for corrugated boxes. They are kraft, mottled white, fully bleached, clay-coated kraft, and clay-coated bleached. On each folded sheet, you'll see the same pre-printed image, a panorama of an auto race in a combination of representative graphic techniques. As you look from left to right, you'll see the picture begin with simple one-color line art, changing character gradually as tones and colors are added. Finally, at the far right, the image becomes richer and more vibrant with the use of full process color. In order to form the actual matrix to compare cost with visual quality, arrange the 5 sheets one above the other, starting with the kraft at the bottom, working up to the clay-coated bleached board at the very top. Now, look to the left to visualize the way your graphics would change with a simpler process, and to the right for a more complex process. Examine how the various levels of printing complexity compare on the different substrates. You'll find that although the range of graphic treatments vary considerably, each combination has its own appealing qualities. As printing and substrate quality improve, costs increase. Generally, the cost difference of moving vertically between substrates is greater than moving horizontally between different degrees of graphic complexity. We've staged the following sales call to further demonstrate the usefulness of the Preprint Image Matrix.
I want to talk to you a little today about pre-printed liner. Are you familiar with the product at all?
Not really.
Well, you may have seen some of the ads that we have in packaging magazines, and also we have in Advertising Age on Preprint. It's a product that International Paper got involved with about a year ago. We installed a preprint press in Shreveport, Louisiana, which supplies our plants throughout the United States. And what we've done is put together a promotion kit for pre-printed liner, just to give you an idea of some of the things that the product offers for corrugated boxes. We put together what we call this preprint matrix kit. And the matrix kit outlines graphically what you can achieve using pre-printed liner. There are different graphic techniques, and as you can see from this panel, there are a wide range of options that you have. What do you think?
Can I get graphics like this on my current box?
Well, preprint is a different manufacturing process than your current boxes, which are post-printed at the corrugated plant. What we would do is pre-print the roll stock prior to shipping it to our box plant where you're currently getting your boxes. Yes, you would be able to. If you are using the post-printed method that we're currently using, you would basically be restricted to the graphics that are demonstrated on these first 2 panels. And that's basically line printing, which is solid ink coverage, 1 or 2 colors, and a little tonal work with half tones and duotones. To achieve the type of graphics you see at the far right, which is full process color, we need to go to our pre-printed liner to get that kind of reproduction. Because with pre-print, you're printing on a smooth, even surface, and you don't have the peaks and valleys that you have when you're printing on corrugated board. That way your graphic reproduction is better. And also our pre-print press can reproduce 6 colors, where our box plant equipment can only reproduce 2 colors.
I see.
Let me show you how these look compared to some other panels we have here. We've pre-printed the same scene on some other different liners or substrates. You're familiar with this substrate. This is the model white. And as you can see, a dramatic change.
How much would it cost to upgrade my current box to pre-print?
Well, the cost of upgrading will depend on 2 factors. Number 1, it will depend on the type of graphics you select. Right now, you're basically using a box that's line print, you know, about 5% ink coverage. With pre-print, you'd probably want to extend the merchandising value of the package. So you'd probably want to go to something with more color and perhaps upgrade your substrates. So the cost would depend on the substrate you select and the type of graphics that have to be reproduced. As you can see, when we upgrade even further to the bleached, an even more dramatic appearance. And really take note at what happens at the right-hand side of the panels. The better reproduction. And that's because all of these substrates have, varying characteristics. And I'd just like to show you the other 2. This substrate you may not be as familiar with. It has a craft back and a clay-coated front. It's clay-coated craft. And the clay coating allows for a smoother surface for printing. And as you can see, it really enhances the graphics quite a bit. And then the premier of the substrates is the clay-coated SBS. And that's really the grade that's used for folding cartons. And we're able to really get some dynamic graphics and very appealing, I think.
I've heard from other preprint suppliers that craft cannot be used for preprint.
Well, craft, because of its basic characteristics, is not the most desirable substrate to use. But as you see here, we've done a reasonably effective job in capturing the entire picture using craft. What we recommend, though, is that when using craft, we limit the type of graphics that we're reproducing to your line graphics and utilize the benefits of the preprint. Reproducing small line printing, the information that you see here that you would not be able to use if you were printing on corrugated. Also, when you're printing barcodes, a lot of ink, where when you're printing on corrugated, you may not be able to get the nice even coverage. So that's when we would recommend using craft for preprint. For the most part, we would recommend a higher grade substrate if we are printing processed color. The characteristics of the craft board makes it the least suitable substrate for printing processed color. It's dark, and when printing process printing, you really need a light background so that light can be reflected and that the colors stand out. Also, there's some other characteristics about craft that makes it a difficult printing substrate. It tends to lint quite a bit, and so those specks can appear in other parts of the picture. So what we recommend when you do use craft for pre-printing, that you use a converting smooth craft similar to the grade that's being produced by our container board group. And we find that by having a smoother surface, we're able to get better reproduction. The ink doesn't absorb down into the board as much because we have, quote, high holdout properties in it, and it's just a little more desirable. So basically we would recommend that when you are using craft, you stick to reproductional lines or halftones. Also, we recommend that you use, coarser line screens, that you open up your printed image a little bit, as we've done here. As I said, we compensated when we printed the craft panel for the characteristics inherent in the substrate. We did use a 65 line screen. The dot structure, if you were to look at this under a magnifier, you would see that the dots in this are much further apart than the dots on the other substrates. And we did this because the craft, having a more absorbent surface, the dots tend to expand once they're printed. And this really reduces the amount of distortion by opening up the dot structure when you're printing the process. You'll also note that when we printed the model white liner, we were able to use a finer line screen. We used an 85 line screen. The dot structure are closer together. A little more detailed printing we're able to achieve, but we did this to accommodate the substrate. The same line screen, 85 line screen, was used on the bleach liner. And by the way, depending on the type of bleach liner you use, this happens to be one with high holdout qualities where the ink does not absorb through the board, would depend on the type of dot structure you would like to use. And on the clay-coated substrates, we were able to use an even finer line screen, 100 line screen, and look at the detail that we were able to achieve with the 100 line screen. So as you see, what we've done is we've adapted the graphics to accommodate the substrate that was selected. So working with a good graphic designer, we're able to effectively design the packages to meet, any of our customers' needs.
We're thinking of redesigning our boxes. Do you think you can help us with that?
Yes. As you're aware, we have several graphic designers throughout the container division, and we have a graphic designer that will be able to sit down with you, determine what you want to say with your packaging, determine the theme of your packaging, how you want to use your packaging to supplement your other advertising for your product, and they can do a sketch and a mock-up, if you desire, of a container that you might perhaps want to use in the future. So I can have our graphic designer come in with me on the next call, and we can start putting together some ideas for your package.
That's great.
What I'd like for you to know is that we will be leaving this kit with you, of course, and filling out a card which registers you as a holder of a preprint image matrix kit. And what we will do is we have supplements to the kit. These will be automatically mailed to you. I forgot to tell you about the corrugated box that the panels are enclosed in. It is a pre-printed container. As you can see, the graphics on this are a little different than the graphics on the panels in that this was done using photography. So when we design your new boxes, if you decide you want to go to an even more sophisticated look than what you see demonstrated on the panels, we could also design graphics that would be suitable for a photographic shoot. This is using the clay-coated SBS, and it's corrugated. It's nothing different than what you're used to, brown inner liner and the clay-coated outer liner. Thank you for giving me the time to talk to you about preprint, and I'm sure that we can come up with some graphic alternatives that may be of interest to you.
Thank you very much. I think this is going to be very helpful.
More and more, the corrugated box is being taken advantage of as a value-added, cost-effective advertising medium. Not just a means of shipping, the box is now seen as a moving billboard and is getting an increasing amount of graphic attention. And now, aided by the Preprint image matrix, you too can use the versatility and visual strength of Preprint graphics to maximize the selling potential of your corrugated billboard. Whatever look you want for your box, International Paper can help you get it.